Okay, so hi for those attending in the room and also for those from remote. My name is Amir Zmora, and the topic of the panel is the role of the network in enterprise digital transformation today and tomorrow. And here more people are coming in. So to kick this off, I would like actually to start by a round of introductions. Just please say who you are, role in the company, and one sentence about your company, not more than that, so we leave time for the real thing. So maybe we'll start with you. Yes.
My name is Rostislav. I represent the Fino company. We do the platform for the advertisers and mobile carriers. Thank you.
My name is Sander Barends. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Xperio. We're a managed service provider specialized in internet access and SD-WAN SASE as overlay, and we bring this to our customers in a platform experience.
I am Alessandro Forcina. I am a partner of Cambridge Management Consulting, a consulting company based in the UK. I have more than 30 years of experience in the telecom world, in the wholesale world, with GSMA and other companies.
And my name is Paolo Mestripieri. I'm responsible for partnership with service provider in Europe at Cato Networks. Cato Networks is a single vendor SASE platform created in 2015 and now driving and leading in terms of concept the SASE roadmap.
And my name is Amir Zmora. I'm the CEO and co-founder of FlexiWAN, which is the world's first open source for SD-WAN and SASE. And I'll open by just saying that I hope to get questions from the audience. So we'll kick off with the first question from me. Please come in. But you're welcome, and I will ask you to ask questions, so please prepare your questions, your hard questions. So we'll start talking about digital transformation, network transformation. What are the key technologies that enterprises and those who offer services to the enterprise, they can be the MSPs, service providers, system integrators, I would say anybody that sells to the enterprise. What are the key technologies that they need in order to support the requirements of the digital transformation, which means moving applications to the cloud, having users connect from remote, and also increase of bandwidth, coming together with the ever-growing need to reduce the total cost of ownership. So who would want to take first? Okay, please.
Thank you. You're right. You're right, Amir. You already mentioned some key points. Let me start that I try to give you an answer from the enterprise perspective, not from the telcos perspective. So there are three major, let's say, issues to be considered. The increase of bandwidth, the ever-increasing security threats, and the move to, as you said, the move of all the application to the cloud. And these three requirements implies that I have three implications. First of all, a new connectivity model. I doubt that someone can implement what we are discussing with the old MPLS. The second, of course, is matter of a new security approach. I doubt that, that an enterprise can keep on adding, this is the box for firewall, this is the box for ZTNA, this is the box for a third application. So an holistic security approach is needed. The third implication is a new architecture. If I have to move the application to the cloud, my network architecture has to change. Which are the solutions? The solutions you mentioned in your introduction. They have to have an SD-WAN approach, SD-WAN better, SD-WAN SASE approach, and they have to consider a new staff organization. Once more, having together a NOC responsible for the network for the connectivity, completely separated from the SOC responsible for security, I doubt whether this organization is useful and long-term proof.
It's like in the past we had those responsible for the network and those responsible for VoIP. They became one.
Right. I can say to
Yes.
you, even worse. We had a personal experience in 1.5 years ago, a medium-sized German company covering most of the European countries, wishing to update the voice platform without considering the data, requesting the fax. Germany.
Okay.
So.
Anything else, or we can?
No,
Okay.
for the time being.
Okay, so who wants to go next?
I can add, representing Cato, but our vision is indeed we see a strong traction of SASE, because SASE is the architecture that help enterprise in the digital transformation. You have to support applications that are in the cloud, remote users, so you need a model where you deliver networking and security from a cloud platform to guarantee a agnostic experience to those users wherever they are and whatever application they want to access. And once you provide the connectivity, you need also to provide the security, the secure web gateway, the next-gen firewall. But what is key for me on this evolution are two functionality in the security portfolio. One is ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access, because you need to apply strong security, to authenticate the users, to continuous authentication in a least exposure approach to protect the applications that are in the cloud and to control how the users are using those applications if they are allowed to. And ZTNA goes then with CASB, Cloud Access Security Broker, because as soon as you are protecting the user, identifying them, where are they are coming, now you have to protect the applications that are in the cloud. So defining the rights of each user based on his context, who is, from which country is coming, which terminal is using, if he can access or not the information in the cloud. So these I see as main axes of technology that are needed to support this migration. There is also, of course, an impact on 5G and additional bandwidth, and maybe edge computing. Now, again, we see that because to guarantee a proper performance of our security services, we have implemented nearly 90 POPs around the world, just to each POP with all the capabilities in terms of functionality from security and connectivity. That to reduce the latency, improve the end user experience while using our services.
Okay, I would say that we will touch that later of how this comes together with the two requirements I mentioned at the end of my opening related to increase of bandwidth and need to reduce the total cost of ownership, but we'll get to that afterwards.
Let me go next.
Okay.
So as a CIO of a large enterprise, there's a lot of things to consider if you want to move as part of your digital transformation. We see a number of trends that they're really struggling with today. One of them is where it all starts with is the connectivity play itself. We see a lot of new mediums coming to the market. You already mentioned 5G, but we also see low Earth orbiting satellites becoming more and more popular. And it's not just the technology, but how do I bring this into a seamless experience so that it really supports their biggest need, which is what you already mentioned, is the move to cloud applications. Well, the internet itself will be the main driver in order to transport all of those applications, but that is a network that is continuously fragmenting and still is today. So one of the questions is, what kind of technology do I need from a last mile perspective? Because that gives you some sort of quality aspect, but also to what network do I need to be connected? because these large enterprises, they have a lot of cloud applications. We tend to talk about the big few, but if I look at a large enterprise, there are literally hundreds of cloud applications, and they're hosted everywhere around the world. So depending on which location you have where in the world, you need to have a good idea about the landscape of applications that site is using, and that determines what can I have from an access and an internet perspective. Once that decision can be made and has been made, we need to secure this. And then indeed, we see routing and security convergence happening. It's going to be moving into the cloud as well. We see a lot of innovation there. You can look at a single vendor, but you can also try to get the best of breed. And again, what is the best choice for a CIO? That really depends on what is important for you.
We'll get to that, yes. Okay. Rostislav, you want to add something?
I think that most important, as colleagues say, that most important for it's the security. And we are not a professional in these technologies. We're mostly in the AI and ML-driven based platforms. But as I know, for all of our clients and mobile carriers, the security is a high point of the view of this.
Okay. And the question is, how do we provide it? So let's see if we have questions from the audience. Yeah, okay, first question over here. Just a minute. I think we want to give you a microphone, so people from remote would need it.
Yeah, Chris from Reg Technologies. Everybody talk about the security, so I'd like to ask you guys, when do you see the more threats from the security perspective? I'm talking about providers, and I'm talking about enterprise customers. What do you think? Is it, for example, here, since a long time in Europe, we have problems with DDoS attacks, zero trust, maybe others. What do you think? Where it will go regarding the security from the security perspective?
Wouldn't it be both?
Excuse me?
Wouldn't it be both? But okay.
I don't know.
Let's hear the panel.
That's what I would like to know. You know?
As there are two different things. So who wants to go first this time?
I can go.
Okay. Please do.
Well, in terms of, we see a lot of increase in the security threat for the enterprises. And what I see is a few axes concerning malicious organizations that are targeting enterprises. First of all is everything that is about phishing and ransomware. They are becoming smarter and smarter. It's become very tough to block and to detect, to recognize these phishing campaigns and block that in real time, to avoid to have the enterprise infected with a malware or having enterprise employees giving their credential into a wrong cloud application. The other threats that we are seeing is the advanced advanced persistent threats that are the attacks always targeted enterprises that are spread along the time. So it's an attack that takes several months to avoid detection from all the traditional engines that are detecting an immediate attack. So again, this is a field we may discuss maybe later, where we have to leverage machine learning and artificial intelligence to detect these weak signals among the time, correlate to then detect the threat and stop it. I'm seeing those as the main challenges. And on top of that, well, maybe we can discuss later, we tell Amir, but on top of the security threats, today enterprises has also a compliancy, let me use threat. I think before October or November of this year, enterprise will have to comply to NIS 2. Not all the enterprises, but power, water, electricity, food, waste, chemical. Nearly 70% of the enterprise from 50 employees up, and they will have to have all the framework to protect themselves, to guarantee resilience of their infrastructure, and that will be a challenge for them because they will need to be aware of all these threats And for me, here is a role where service provider MSP can play, accompany the enterprises in these compliance to NIS 2.
Okay, next.
Few words. I don't think there is a rank between the various cybersecurity capabilities. For example, if in an enterprise there is, and for sure it's possible, the remote access for the staff, for the partners, ZTNA, it's a condition in Latin. It's unavoidable in Latin, conditio sine qua non. This is for remote access. In general, a CIO, a security officer, should consider its own application and put all possible, let's say, counter measure to stop the threats. And what what Paolo was saying, the virus is silent. There is a famous case of SolarWinds in the US. Are you aware of that? I suppose you are in 2022. They entered in late 2021 or 2022. Then they were silent for more than 1 year. And at the end, they infected thousands of companies in the US, hundreds of federal and state offices, including the target was the US Ministry of Commerce, Defense, Justice, and so on and on. I said they, but it's clear that a similar level of attacks come from, let's say, nations, countries.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to give it a little bit of a different angle as well, because we can talk about the technology and the attackers will getting smarter and the technology will get smarter, and that is a continuous, battle between the two to get there. And one aspect that you really can't overlook is the human aspect. So make sure that your staff and everybody that works with applications is well trained and understand what security is and what threats are. Because the vast majority, if not all, attacks are because somebody clicks on a link or does something that they shouldn't have done, and that then opens the door for the attacker to come in, which is very hard for technology to stop. So for any enterprise, when you're looking at security, technology, clearly the right choices need to be made, but at the same time, you need to invest in making sure that your people are up to date and trained as well, and stay current on what's out there in the market.
Yeah, someone want to add that you need to hire the great CISO for your company. This is almost what we do, because he can avoid many of the threats. And here on the market, it's a lot of application frameworks that can reduce the DDoS attacks and other threats. And you need to hire the great person for this position. I think it's most what you need. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Another question from me, and then meanwhile I'll think of more questions from the audience. So let's talk about the customers that the service providers, systems integrators, all of those cater to, and the strategies that they would have when they want to sell to the large enterprise versus the SMB. What are the different characteristics of the solutions and the requirements? Okay. Let somebody else start now. Who wants to be first?
Yeah, I'll start with that one. There is no one size fits all. I think that is what you're saying.
That's where I'm heading.
And
yes.
that is absolutely true, right? So when we sit down with a prospect, it's really about landscaping their geographical spread, the complexity of their network, and that builds up the technology choices eventually. So it all comes down to proper qualification. And we're going to talk about money a little bit later as well. But that clearly also is an aspect. So how much money are you willing to spend? What kind of technology fits within that budget? But also how complex is the network that we need to provide to you, as well as your geographical footprint around the world. And what you see is with the small to medium, clearly that's a lot smaller. But with the large enterprise, that tend to be in many different countries in difficult locations. So that also is a decision maker on what kind of technology an enterprise should consider.
Yeah, but can you drill down maybe a bit more into the different, let's say, architectures that an enterprise or those who offer the services to the enterprises would want to take? I'm looking more at, how do you reduce cost with respect to, are you using a real backbone, not using a real backbone? What are you doing with respect to security? What elements are you using, and what elements do you decide maybe to not use in order to reduce cost, or actually to adopt more things in order to increase security and quality or things like that? Anything more you want to add there?
Yeah, I do want to stop at the cost element, right? That is not the number one on the decision list
Yes.
for somebody that does a digital transformation. Yes, it's still on there, but it's at the bottom end of that. Yeah, it starts with how can I secure my applications, how can I secure my network, and how do I invest in the right network itself. Most enterprises that we're helping, of course, this is also our sweet spot. We help them to move to a primary internet base as the connectivity medium to get to their cloud applications. What I addressed earlier already, to make the right choice per site, and that is complex, because what kind of technologies do I have available, as well as to which cloud applications do we need to connect. Securing it, that really depends on the complexity of the network. There are technology solutions out there which is all in one box, which can help, because that fits, including turning the Wi-Fi on. Typically for small to medium, a bit more for retail environment, that might be the absolute right choice. While for a much more complex environment where you see, we've got production, logistics, factories to take into account, you need to make a different technology choice, and maybe you need to break the different elements as well. Break security from routing, because that makes sense then for that type of enterprise.
Meaning to have multiple vendors for those areas?
Yeah, well, that's one thing that we then do. So the customer will continue to work with us, but we might need to make different vendor choices in order to bring the best of breed together.
Solution. Yeah, okay. Who wants to go next? Just a minute. Do you want to speak about this, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can. One. Yeah, it's all. For us, it's like the difference between small businesses and medium business and enterprises. That, as you say, that the cost for us is there. I think they're one of the on the first place because they want to earn money, not to spend them.
So I think we see already one difference.
Yeah.
You have very rich customers,
Yeah.
and you have very poor customers.
Not all, but enterprises is rich, and enterprises thinking about the security. This is on the top in the first position, and we can in the small businesses we can do implement our service in the cloud, and it's okay for the SMBs. But enterprises wants to be the installation in the perimeter only on their hardware and close the routing for us, and that's all.
Okay, thank you, Rostislav. So, Sandro, please.
There is one aspect mentioned that I believe deserves to be outlined. A new connectivity model, the internet access. Till a few years ago, there were a lot of questions on the internet access, the quality of the internet links, and so on and on. I do believe that in 2024, these doubts can be put aside. Of course, I'm also stupid to say that everything must go via internet. If I am BMW, which is huge, I'm not so stupid to believe that the interconnection between the data center or the headquarters and the data center goes via internet. But if I am BMW and I have to interconnect 1,000 of car dealers in the world, it's different. And of course, relying on the internet brings on the table the issue mentioned by Amir, total cost reduction. Because decommissioning MPLS and implementing at a connectivity level internet, there is a huge reduction. And then, of course, the security bill must be added. There's another aspect in terms of flexibility. So from the operation side, if there is a network based on MPLS or frame relay or let's say old-fashioned services, the flexibility is very, very limited. If there is a change, you have to restart from scratch. With SD-WAN and internet access, there is the full decoupling between the connectivity and the service layer. These are only some points that I believe deserve to be outlined versus in the new world versus the old world.
Okay, thank you. Pablo. Yes.
Very briefly, I think that coming to the one word I would like to use for about the costs. I think above all SMB, they are attentive to cost, but it's a cost optimization. Is not spending the less, but spending enough, but not too much to get the maximum, or the good enough to get protected. So this is typically the customer that goes to a single vendor SASE platform, because it's simpler to manage, it's simple to deploy. They don't need a lot of competencies to operate the solution. As you move up in the stack to the large enterprises, it's a different approach. It's best of breed. They have the money. And when is the money? When you go to a multi-vendor SASE solution, there is a lot of money to be spent on the operational side in coordinating, orchestrating, in managing different technologies to deliver the end-to-end service. So large enterprise can afford that. SMB market, they prefer to optimize the costs, let's say.
Okay, we'll get to that maybe a bit more into this topic, but let's see if we have more questions from the audience before I bug you with another question around this. Anybody else with a question? Okay, so drilling down actually into the last two answers by Alessandro and Paolo. I think it was April 2022, if I remember correctly, that Gartner came out with a document that was called something like the 3 architectural models of SASE. And this document talked about 3 models. 1, single vendor SASE. The second one is a dual vendor SASE. And in the dual vendor SASE, what you have is you have SD-WAN, you have the SSE, the Security Service Edge, which typically comes also with a backbone. Okay, and then you had the third one. And the third one is everything else, I would say. They call it use case specific. Okay, and there I always like to put what I call hybrid SASE, which actually gives you more flexibility to. It's a term that I made up. Okay, hybrid SASE. But the idea of it is not something that I think many are using that. Okay, that you have security at the edge, you have security in the cloud, and you have routing policies that is pushed to the edge, and with that you can decide what traffic is going over the internet. Okay, and what traffic is going through backbone to cloud security services. So when you look at the service providers, what approaches do you think they take, and to which type of companies? Okay, so it relates a little bit to what you just touched, but let's expand on that a little bit more. You want to start now because you ended, or somebody else? Okay.
I can start. First of all, I would like to add a fourth category that for me it's important. Gartner described the single vendor SASE. From my point of view, of course, I'm coming from Cato, but I want to highlight, because it's important, that we have to make the difference between single vendor platform, so single vendor SASE platform like Cato, and single vendor SASE portfolio, like many other vendors that commercially, under the same logo, they give you all the functionality of SASE. But technically, the solution has been grown through acquisition. So at the end of the day, from a technical perspective, you have different bricks, different engine, different platform to deliver the service. And the single vendor portfolio are very similar to the dual vendor or to the hybrid. But this is, this is just a.
It's part of the Cato pitch, okay? Please, come on.
No. It's not. You know, why I'm saying that? Because for me, SASE, the SASE is not a new groundbreaking technology. It's about customer experience. It's focusing in delivering the functionality we know already, SD-WAN, secure web gateway, next-gen firewall, and so on, in a different way. Flexible, scalable, reliable, available everywhere for the end users. So at the end of the day is improving the end user experience. And to improve that end user experience, you need to have a converged platform. Okay. This is what we see, what I see that makes sense. Now, there is not one single truth. The reality is there is a path going to this single vendor model, and there are also companies that prefer, again, to focus on best of breed. So I think there is the opening to all the architectural model.
Okay, so maybe I'll add something here for Sander also to kind of relate to as a service provider, because this thing can also be provided by the service provider, meaning the service provider can take the best of breed and build a solution that is offered to the customer. And when you talked before about the SMB, that they don't have the resources, the people, the expertise, and all of that to deal with complex solutions. So many times what they do is they just buy either a managed service or a co-managed or a self-managed but full solution, not from the vendor, but from the service provider. So if you can touch a little bit what you see there, a little bit what you do on that in that aspect, and what you see from enterprises, which type of enterprises prefer this type of solutions? That mainly the small ones, the big ones, retail.
Yeah, and there we do see that size matters. Because available resources, but also mindset goes almost hand in hand with the growth of a company. So for the smaller enterprise, the level of do-it-yourself is still very high, and therefore we see a tendency to go for an all-in-one solution, single vendor, easy to deploy, easy to manage. They don't have too many people but they do want to do it themselves, because outsourcing it to a service provider is simply too costly. They haven't reached, the pain is not big enough yet that the cost of outsourcing to a service provider starts to make sense. The larger medium and the smaller large, this is where you start to see that change in behavior. Again, the choice of technology really depends on the type of company that it is, but they're already looking more for a service provider solution to outsource that business problem, but also they no longer have access to technical resources to manage it themselves, because there is a war of talent out there. And if you have to start managing a larger network yourself, it gets complex, and they might not have that expertise or don't want to invest in that expertise. Then if I get into the larger enterprise, not the very large yet, there's a very big tendency to outsource it all. They don't want to manage it themselves. They want to be able to focus on their own business, and they're looking to a service provider to solve that problem for them. And we see a little bit of a mix back there, but typically they leave it up to the service provider to decide what the best technology is, whether that's a single technology or a mix of technologies.
If you can give just a very, very short answer, because I want to talk also about a little bit AI and ML, so
very, very
leave
short.
some time for that.
I played in the academia and in standardization body. From a pure academic perspective, there is no doubt that the single converged SASE provider is the most beautiful, pure. Of course, this is the academia. The real world is different. That's clear. Again, but it's better to stress the real world is different. The real world is different even from the telco side. If I am a tier one and I have invested millions of dollars in SD-WAN, of course, I am very, very reluctant to put all these equipment and money into the dustbin. So very likely, I will sign an agreement with a security provider, and in the industry there are tens of this example. If I am a tier tier 2 service provider with a focus on something else. And I have to enter this new world from scratch. No expertise on security, nothing but connectivity. In this case, for the service provider perspective, again, the single a partnership, again, gold word partnership with a single SASE provider is welcome.
Okay, let's stop here. I want to add another question. So let's talk a little bit about AI and ML. And I had several opportunities to speak about this with various vendors and service providers in various conferences. And I would love to hear from you, each company with the perspective that they have, okay? If it's a service provider, what they do as a service provider, a vendor as a vendor, and so forth. What are the things that are being done, actually done, deployed today in the market by your company relating to these technologies? And what do you see coming forward all the way to self-driving autonomous networks, which we're not there? Rostislav, please.
Yeah, thank you. We're talking about our platform and our company. We provide the service like on ML based. It's not artificial intelligence, but it's ML based. We choose the best advertiser for the like high targeted mobile carriers audience, like their subscribers. And it's the new income for the mobile carriers because of they work with some advertisers, but mostly with CPM and CPL models, how they work now. And it's different from market to market because if we compare the some European region and CIS region, they want different things. Because in CIS region, they want more income and more money, and in the European region they like looking in GDPR and other things. And we're working only in high performance advertising, only in cost per action, cost per sale, and that was mobile carriers like. They want to have new money, and they want to have a lot of advertisers for the increasing the RPU in their subscribers, but they don't want to sign the contract with every advertiser because there are a lot of them. Okay. And for us, it's like the best way to see the like data of the subscribers, know what they want, and push them only the interesting information for them.
Okay. Thank you. Now I understand why GDPR is an issue. Yes, there was, by the way, once a company called Pudding. They didn't succeed. What they did when voice had dollar value, not like today that the value of voice is zero, because you don't pay for voice, right? I mean, you don't pay by the minute. I think nobody here pays by the minute, right? So their idea was to provide advertisement based on the context of the call, and by that give you a call for free. They didn't succeed. Yeah, privacy issues, no doubt about it. Let's make it very short because we're actually going to be over time, but I hope they'll be okay with 2-3 minutes over.
A few minutes. I'll keep it really
5
short.
minutes. You're even more generous than me.
I'll have three answers for you. So one, how have we deployed AI ML? We launched or relaunched our enhanced internet and our enhanced IP core in January this year, and that is powered by AI running across our IP nodes globally, overriding the BGP routing of the internet and do destination performance-based routing, and that is available to our customers today already. So that's one thing towards our customers. We're using AI ourselves in our back office in order to further improve the customer experience, but also to make operational efficiencies, and we're having some really good successes there already. And but we're also excited to see what AI is doing in terms of bandwidth demands. You know, we see there's a lot of excitement back in the industry. Because AI is driving the need for data centers, with that a lot of infrastructure and more bandwidth as well. So you see new investments happening. Before that starts hitting the enterprise market, there will be some delay there, but yeah, you see that there's a lot of investment going on because of that.
Yeah, NVIDIA is very happy about this as well. Yes.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Very, very,
Very happy. Yes.
in $3,000 billion market cap. Where we are a consulting company, so what we see the application for AI machine learning. Very, very shortly, customer care, network management, network planning. These are the first three. I have no doubt.
And the order of deployment as well, probably.
And but I'd like to share with you a funny discussion I had yesterday with a colleague of mine. We were discussing AI, artificial intelligence in Italy. He told me that the company in Italy are understanding the value. The company in Italy are starting to provide training to the staff, and he added, but there is no training for the managers. So the managers who have to take the major decision in the organization, they are not trained on the value of AI. The staff, yes, but not the managers.
I was sure that you're going to say that you now have AI-based consultants that replace you.
No.
That's false.
That's next. Okay, yes. Okay.
At Cato, AI and machine learning are pervasive everywhere. To quick example, we guarantee we have a cloud infrastructure, 90 POPs connected with a private backbone. We guarantee 5 nines of availability. If you have to have humans working on a model to guarantee 5 nines, it will never work. So we have trained our engine to detect signal of performance degradation, to diagnostic automatically incidents, and to take the decision to reroute traffic to guarantee the availability. This is just on the network side. On the security, everything today is driven by AI, from detection of threats, advanced threats, to detect against the complex phishing. We were talking about phishing and ransomware attacks, up to simplify the life of the SOC operator with a generative AI. Today, you have a service called XDR, Extended Detection and Response. You see alarms rising up from different engines in the network. You correlate it and say all these events are related to a single attack, but it remains something that needs an expert to be readden. Mm-hmm. So now we have integrated the generative AI, ChatGPT API, and they have been trained to create a story, so a storyteller from the operator, and transform these alarms in a story saying, at that time, we see a URL downloaded from that website. 2 minutes later, we see a laptop from user Paolo that disabled the antivirus and started exfiltrating data. So we create the story to make easier for the SOC team to understand the incident and take the right decision to remediate.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll have to end here, although I think we could have spoken a lot about this topic even further. Maybe next year. So thank you very much to our panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you.